Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we are watching a video by Robert Reich. He is the former um, Secretary of Labor under Bill Clinton. He's worked with several other federal departments as far as like trying to help people. He's worked with the Federal Trade Commission. Like I said, he was Secretary of Labor under Clinton. He's a Rhodes Scholar, went to Oxford and everything, and very intelligent man. One of the best you can listen to when it comes to information on certain topics. But we are going to watch a video on his channel, and we're going to be discussing some of the things as we go along here. But let's go ahead and get into this.
Make the House of Representatives bigger. Now, I know what some might be thinking. Make the government bigger? Well, technically, yes, but that's missing the point. We need to expand the House to make the government work better and be more responsive to our needs. Put simply, the House of Representatives does not have enough members to adequately represent all 334 million.
Yeah, 435 representatives, which, I mean, a lot of people may go, well, that's a lot. And then, of course, you've got the Senate with 100 members, which is equal representation among the states, whereas the House of Representatives is a population-based representation. But I think he just mentions this. The House hasn't been reapportioned to fit the growth of the U.S. in quite a while. And yeah, it is due some more members. It really, really is.
Of us. Now, the House hasn't always had 435 members, and it was never intended to stay the same size forever. For the first 140 years of America's existence, a growing House of Representatives was actually the norm. It wasn't until 1929 that Congress arbitrarily decided to cap the size of the House at 435 members. Back then, each House member represented roughly 200,000 people. But since then, the population of the United States has more than tripled, bringing the average number of constituents up to roughly 760,000. Compared to other democracies, we're one of the worst in terms of how many constituents a single legislator is supposed to represent.
Yeah, think about that. 100 years almost that we've been at 435 members within the House. And because of the huge boom in population, especially since World War II, we are so much bigger than we were in 1929. But yeah, that's when they decided to stop raising the number of representatives in the House. We really should have so many more representatives. But, representation of the average American does not do well for the rich and the corporations.
Only in India does the average representative have more constituents. And as America continues to grow, it's only going to get worse. Think your representative doesn't listen to you now? Well, you just wait. Not surprisingly, research shows that representatives from more populous House districts tend to be less accessible to their constituents and less popular. Thankfully, the solution is simple. Allow the House to grow.
Yeah.
Increasing the number of representatives should be a no-brainer for at least 4 reasons. First, logically, more representatives would mean fewer people in each congressional district, improving the quality of representation. Second,
Yeah. You lower the number of people per district that's represented by representative, then yeah, it's especially if it's rural areas, they don't have to travel all over the place in their district. It becomes a lot more compact because you're not having to worry about near as much about people. It would also change a lot of district shapes because all of a sudden you're not needing near as many people to be represented. And thus, all of a sudden you're not needing near the size of the districts. And so all of a sudden you can start forcing the districts to compact. And, of course, district representatives would have to listen to their constituency.
Second, a larger House would be more diverse. Despite recent progress, today's House is still overwhelmingly male, white, and middle-aged. More representatives means more opportunities for young people, people of color, and women to run for office and win. Third, this reduced...
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty simple one. Diversity, if you have more available potential representatives, the more chance of diversity to become more realistic. But yeah, and this one, like I said, a more representative to democracy where it more closely represents the average American is not something the rich and corporations like.
This is the power of big money. Running an election in a smaller district would be less expensive, increasing the likelihood that people elect representatives that respond to their interests rather than big corporations and the wealthy. Fourth, this would...
Yeah. It would do so much. Like I said, it's not a cure-all, but it would help a lot with a number of issues.
Would help reduce the Electoral College's bias towards small states in presidential elections. As more heavily populated states gain more representatives in Congress, they also gain more electoral votes. Now, some might say that a larger House of Representatives would be unwieldy and unmanageable. Well, Japan, Germany, France, and the UK, countries with smaller populations than us, all have larger legislatures, and they manage just fine. Others might say that it would be too difficult or expensive to accommodate more representatives in the capital. Are there even enough chairs? Seriously? Look, we've done it before. The current Capitol has been expanded to accommodate more members several times, and it can be done again. A building should not be an obstacle to a more representative democracy. Increasing the size of...
Yeah. It's always these ridiculous excuses that are thrown up to say, you can't do that. That would do this or that. What it would do is to make representatives more responsible to the average American instead of just the rich and corporations. Period. It's just a fact. And there is a lot, like I said, a lot of corporations and rich people who do not like ideas like that. They like the oligopoly.
The House is an achievable goal. We don't even need a constitutional amendment. Congress only needs to pass a law to expand the number of representatives, which it's done numerous times. And as it happens, there is a bill. In fact, two. Each would add more than 130 seats to the House and lower the number of constituents a typical representative serves from 760,000 to a little over 570,000. Plus, there's a mechanism for adding new members down the line. These bills are our best chance to restore the tradition of a House that grows in representation as America grows. It's time for us to think big and make the People's House live up to its name.
Yep. It should be the People's House, period. It should be representative to the average American. But instead, it's seen as, oh, we got to get money to win, so we got to pay attention to the rich and the big corporations, especially if we add more representatives and shrink the size of the constituencies. They become much more indebted to the average voter, average American. But yeah, I just thought it'd be something interesting for us to look at, so. But we'll go ahead and end this episode here. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting a link to the video in the description box down below. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.